A very pleasant day to you, and I welcome you to Newspaper Review here in First Next News Sport Accord. I am Kings Ojalo. With me on set is by the name Casitoni. Good to have you on set, Casitoni, once again.
Thank you so much, Kings.
Okay, let's move straight to our headlines on all our newspaper platforms. First, we are going to be starting from the Daily Monitor. On the Daily Monitor, we have boldly written, "It's now difficult to speak truth to power under Tinubu's government." That is coming from the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde. We also have on the top of that same newspaper platform, Dangote Cement welcomes over 100 new engineers after completion of graduate trainee program. You find that in page 2. We also have in page 2 as well, NDLEA intercepts Brazilian lady with 3 billion naira heroin at Abuja airport. We still have on that same page 2, Power. Syrup drags Adelabu and bid to court over failure to account for missing 128 billion naira. Still on that same page 2, we have this coming from the Kano State Governor, talking about Yusuf to join APC today. Now, moving to the next newspaper platform, which is the First Daily newspaper. On the First Daily, we have boldly written as well, "You can't speak truth to power," still from the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde. We are looking at the top, which we have global recognition. Georgia confers honorary citizenship on Nnamdi Kanu. We still have on that newspaper platform, 2027 money dropping Shatima could cause APC election minister. We still have on that, Kano government said to rejoin APC after dumping NNPP. Moving to the next newspaper platform, which is the Vanguard newspaper, boldly written on the Vanguard, $11 billion loss to skill shortage as tech sector outgrows workforce. You find that in page 21 of that newspaper platform. Now on the top, we have tax laws. You can't speak truth to power under Tinubu government. Still coming from the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde. We still have in page 6, again, bandits adopt 6 Kajuru residents. That is on page 6 of that newspaper platform. Moving to page 12 of the newspaper platform, we have while we are keen to invest $20 billion in Nigeria. That is Shell CEO. Moving to page 9, 2026, UTME JAM cancels concessions for Abinos. Now, moving to the next newspaper platform, which is the Daily Sun newspaper. On the Daily Sun newspaper, still from the Oyo State Governor, again, Seyi Makinde hits FG hard, says people no longer free to speak truth to power. His past administration. You find that in page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Still on the Daily Sun, we have on the top right, in page 25, Shell CEO explains investments of $20 billion. Now moving to the bottom right, we have bandit adopt 6 in fresh Kajuru attack. You find that in page 4. Still on that, we have Rivers South Women Group begs Tinubu to ride into political crisis. You find that in page 8. Now moving to the Leadership newspaper. On the Leadership, we have Kamin Wali adoption, which says, "I lost 2-week-old baby. My husband, 5 children, still in captivity, escaped murder." That is a sad one there. Now, we also have in that newspaper platform, troops snap 65-year-old woman supplying illicit drugs to terrorists. You find that in page 29 of the Leadership newspaper. Now, moving to the next newspaper platform, which is the Daily Independent. On the Daily Independent, we have 4 banks risk first mega downgrade as deadline nears. Still on that, we have in page 6, police intercept truck conveying explosion device, arrest drivers. Still on that newspaper platform, we also have Syrup sues Adelabu and bets over failure to account for 128 billion naira in power ministry. That is in page 7 of that newspaper platform. Still on that, we have rising dormant PPP accounts threatening pension sustainability. in page 6 of that newspaper platform. We also have NDIC, EFCC forge alliance on failed banks asset recovering persecution. Now, moving to the next newspaper platform, which is the Matrix newspaper, boldly written on the Matrix. Tax laws alterations, House of Reps in Dairy. That you find that in page 2 of that newspaper platform. We also have in page 2 as well, Tinubu heads to Turkey for strategic state visits. Still on page 2, Kano Governor Abba Yusuf to join APC on Monday. Still on that, we have in page 9, NDLEA nabs Brazilian lady with 3 billion naira heroin in coffee packs at Abuja airports. Now we will be moving to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, 2027 battle, Kano earthquake as Yusuf dump opposition for APC. You find that in page 2 on the Punch newspaper. Now moving to the top right, we have inflation erases 2.8 trillion naira from workers' pay in 1 year. I will be handing over to my colleague Cassitoni to take on from here. Over to you, Cassitoni.
Thank you so much, Kings. Moving to the next newspaper, Nigerian Tribune. Boldly written, why we will invest $20 billion in Nigeria. That's coming from Shell CEO. You find that on page 16. Still in the newspaper, suspected drug traffickers open fire on customs in Ogun. 2 officers injured. You find that on page 30. Still in the newspaper, domestic abuse ends in horror as man kills wife, self with acid. You find that on page 30. On top of the newspaper, senators end 35 days Xmas and New Year break. You find that on page 4. Nigerian banks face tough road to Africa's top 10. You find that on page 6. Moving to the next newspaper, This Day. Boldly written, your resignation, a betrayal of sacred trust. Kwankwaso, NNPP tell Governor Yusuf. On top of the newspaper, at $46.01 billion, Nigeria's foreign reserves hit highest peak since 2018, strengthen FX buffers. Moving to the next newspaper, Daily Trust. Boldly written, alleged cop, military hands over report to Tinubu. On top of the newspaper, 2027, dropping Shetima risky for APC, Musawa. Troops arrest 65-year-old woman supplying drugs to Boko Haram. You find that on page 7. How withholding tax enforcement spike banks charges. You find that on page 40. Kaduna adoption, 166 still in captivity 1 week after. You find that on page 7. Moving to the next newspaper, The Guardian. Boldly written, decades of trade deals failed to win Nigeria off crude oil dependence. You find that on page 6. On top of the newspaper, Yusuf rejoins APC, flags of parties e-registration. You find that on page 3. You can't speak truth to power under Tinubu, says Makinde. You find that on page 3. Bandits ambush police patrol team in Oyo, killed inspector. You find that on page 3 as well.
Thank you so much for that, Casey. And that's all we have on this segment on Newspaper Review. I am Kings Ojalo, and many thanks for being with us.
And I am Cassitoni.
It's a bye for now.